all you heroes, villains, and innocent bystanders. Welcome to another episode of An Angel and Her Unicorn comic book reviews. I'm Alan the Unicorn, and unfortunately with me today is...
Stallion?
Just James.
Terry.
James I like. The other two, I don't know.
Rude.
You got him a card today.
We will be spoiling the books for the week. If you haven't read your books, you may want to take a moment, go back and review your books, and then come back and let us spoil them, or come back and enjoy them, or we can spoil them for you, whichever you prefer. If you can, like, share, and subscribe. We would love to have more and more people. It's always a great thing. Maybe I can quit hitting the table so it shakes and shakes. Until then, who wants to go first? I'll let you go first, Terry. Before Terry
I went
falls
first
asleep.
last time, I believe.
Okay, James, go.
Okay.
It's because you fall asleep first. So we don't get him in early.
This time I'll fall asleep last.
My first book, I've reviewed the other two of it. It's Once and Future #3 by Boom Studios. It's by Kieran Gillen, Dan Mora, and Tamara Bonvillain. So, the premise of the book, the kind of milquetoast scholarly guy is summoned by his grandmother, who growing up told him that magic and fairy tales were nonsense. He finds out she's like a vampire hunter,
Monster
hunter extraordinaire, and
hilarity ensues.
Yeah, hilarity ensues. So this one starts there in the crypt where bad guys are trying to resurrect King Arthur.
But in this one, King Arthur is not necessarily a good guy.
Yes.
Right.
Because he wants to he's like a white supremacist. He wants to cleanse the...
Well, and he was, he doesn't like... It was the earlier time when... Before there were Anglo-Saxons, there was the Anglos versus the Saxons, and so yeah, anyone with any Saxon
So
heritage.
he's a pure blood hater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or liker, yes.
He doesn't like
So-
muggles.
Right.
He's they're about to in the last issue the
The
grandmother and the
Watch Jim
son
fall asleep.
were watching
Yeah.
him, and the grandson made a noise or something, so the bad guys saw him. So in this one, they're shooting it out with them trying to get away. The grandma sets a bomb off, and they're getting away, and the grandson's like, why do I taste seasoning? And she's like, oh, there was iron and sea salt and garlic and silver filings and wolfsbane and high explosives. You're never sure what you're going to go up against, so I make my bombs be good for everything. And she says, do you know how you kill a vampire deer? He says, a stake through the heart. She's like, yeah, and a stake through the heart will kill a lot of other things too. So she's practical and funny, and so King Arthur is wanting to find Excalibur, and the grandma and son are wanting to find, I guess, the Holy Grail. So she tells him that they need a history buff. So they go and find the gal that he had a date with, a real super awkward date with in the first issue.
Because he had to go pick up his grandmother.
Yeah, and they kidnap her at gunpoint. And so they're looking through the archives of this old history professor, friend of the grandmother's. And inside there's a note written to the...
Whoever's the successor, yeah.
Yeah, it says, trust these people
Yeah.
and give them whatever help you can, and
Here's some keys.
yeah, and I'm really sorry. So they go to the church where the first king of England was coronated, and there's all these ghosts inside, and so they they find Arthur trying to grab Excalibur, and then the bad gal's son is gonna take over as Galahad to find the Holy Grail, and Grandma tells the son to kneel, and he's like,
Here before that.
yeah, he's like, oh, will praying help? And then she uses his shoulders to stand for the sniper rifle, and is going to take Galahad out. So it felt like kind of a transition issue. It was some stuff happened, but not a lot of new information. I still like it.
I definitely think this
It needs
issue
to
got a little
pick
more
up.
confusing.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
This
get
one got
it.
this one kind of got a little bit more confusing with the whole historian thing, and like then
Though I like the date. I like the date in the first one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's too bad we don't get to see her anymore,
Yeah.
and now we get to see her.
Right.
And she is fitting in well with the weird.
she's just kind of like, I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Well, and they're, they take her at gunpoint,
Yeah.
and she's kind of okay with it. And so I think she's going to make a good addition to their motley crew.
I'm with you though. I think something needs to happen where they need to like move past this, or like
They either need to have a huge win or huge loss.
yeah, something needs Well, and like I think it needs to have a little bit more directions. Like I get that it's just they're trying to stop Arthur, but they need to like maybe explain or find a plan that's how they're going to stop Arthur, and so it just seems like every time they do their, the grandma's trying to stop like one little thing, like she's trying to stop him from getting the sword, then the next is she's trying to stop him from getting Galahad, and so there needs to be like a overarching plan. I think.
Well, I think they're taking out, from what I understood, it, I haven't read the third issue, taking out the knights of Camelot. Before they take out the king. So
I just wish it was more clear.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
I give it a 3.5 worms.
I'd agree with that. I think I would do the same. Probably 3.5.
I'm still enjoying it and looking forward to the next
right.
issue coming
This
out.
one didn't knock my
and
socks
wanna
off like the
read it.
first two, but
when I saw that the 3 had come out this week, oh yeah, I need to read that one.
the only thing that I hope it's not going to turn into, especially with maybe the next 2 issues, is they need to either the dialogue needs to be a little bit better, because it seems like the grandma is the only one that actually has some really good lines. And there are very few. Like, there's one at the beginning with the little spices, and then at the end when she's getting ready to sniper the guy. So it's like it's like they're just trying to get to the moments with the grandma. Like, every single, and this one felt really heavy with that. Like, it definitely felt like,
I can see that.
all right, wait, we're like, all right, what next grandma gag can we set up? And
Or they think of the funny things and then write the book
Yeah.
of how to get her into
into these
those
situations,
things.
yeah.
At the same time, Grandma, though, she's kind of the wizened one, so
she's hysterical.
She has all this knowledge and can bring out this
right.
jabs and stuff.
And I'm okay with that, like, if they make it about her. Like, if they make the book about her. But they're not making the book
Right.
about her. She's, like, this secondary character. But she's the one that I want to watch. She's the one that I want to listen to. She's the one I want to see do something.
And she's both
The other ones are like,
wise
meh.
and foolish.
Yeah. Like, when she's trying to run away from him and he finally
She
has to go pick her up.
knows- Yeah.
and cocky, too.
Yeah.
Well, and she doesn't understand the modern world as grandmas don't.
Right.
She's got all this knowledge, but it's very compartmentalized, and the rest
For
of
sure.
it she never bothered. She was so competent, she never bothered to learn.
All right.
Or why learn?
Yeah.
So,
Moving
you're
on.
up next.
my turn. I read the newest issue of Batman.
Okay.
And I think it's 83. I think it was. So we got
Still
Bruce,
by Tom King.
unfortunately.
Ginny would
Sorry,
smack
you
the
know,
crap
hey,
out
sorry.
of you. She would have straight
Look at
throat
that,
punched
look
you.
at
Yeah,
that.
She was looking at you.
she
I
would have
mean-
throat punched you in a heartbeat. Like I was.
I'm sure Beethoven dropped some turds in his lifetime, you know. So
man.
Tom King has dropped a bunch lately.
She's gonna haunt you tonight.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's that's why we do this, right?
We don't
to
talk
hurt your ears.
No,
too?
we don't talk bad about. We don't talk about talking bad about Tom King.
Well, sorry, but I mean, he's.
All right, go ahead with the review.
So we're getting City of Bane is slowly coming to an end. Bane has taken over Gotham. All the heroes have been pushed out. The last couple issues have been kind of Bruce training with Selina and getting back, you know, stuff. And, so this issue we get Bruce and Selina back in Gotham, revealing Bruce's master plan that, you know, he's known this was going to happen, and he's kind of taken steps to make sure Gotham didn't go too crazy. He had Clayface impersonate the Joker and everything, and kind of infiltrate the police force and kind of do that. And you get the Bat team, as you can call them, you know, Damian, Tim, Cassandra, the Signal, and Huntress and Batgirl beating up on Thomas Wayne in the cave, and Damian let him in, and
It's weird that he's back.
huh?
It's weird.
What?
He brought back his dad.
Yeah, it's from Flashpoint. So it's Flashpoint comic. Flashpoint Batman. And this result of the 3 issues ago, it kind of follows up on what's happened. You know, with the whole Alfred being executed. Yes. So I mean, this was a good. It was the last 2 issues I've really enjoyed, and it's like been the whole quiet times between Bruce and Selina. You know, getting things ready and everything has been really good. This issue, the art could have been better. It was done by John Romita Jr. This new style, I'm not a huge fan of his new. I say new style. It's not his 70s, 80s style. It's his liney style.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. Next issue, it
Short
looks forward,
wide.
deep and wild.
So it's kind of like a kick-ass kind of.
Well, it's
style.
it's a kick-ass style, yeah. So next issue we get a fight between Bane and Batman. Apparently shirtless is what I've been seeing, you know. But
As it should be.
yeah, I guess so. So yeah, definitely. You know, we're wrapping up Tom King's run. So before we get the new writer and artist on there, so
What about your rating?
I would give it a 3. It's
3
an
out of 5?
average. I mean,
Is what it is.
it is what it is. It's Tom King, so.
All right, I'm going to do Marked. It's an Image comic. It's written by Brian Haberlin and David Hine. And then art is by Brian Haberlin and Gerard Van Dyke. May have mispronounced that one, so my bad.
The deep.
So this is not the Van Dyke. I assume it's Jared.
Oh, Gerard.
Geirrod. Jared.
Right, Jared.
So this one is the basic premise is about this sect of people that have tattoos, and they become like mystic powers. So it starts off with this girl runs in and finds this other little girl, like she's blind because something exploded, and she's like, I've lost my sight, I don't know what's happened. She's got this big phoenix on her back, and she's like, your powers have gone out of control. And so she ends up but then it starts flashback. So it starts where this little girl that got blinded starts with her, like how she got into this group of people. She took this art test, and then the art test, she was the only one that actually saw. You're supposed to, like, it was a woman's head, and you're supposed to draw what she sees. And so she draws this phoenix, and apparently, like, this is some kind of Rorschach test that where, like, if they see something other than what is there, then they are able to have these marks. So they bring her in, they introduce her to everybody, and they go through the history of like how the tattooed people and the other mystical people fought in World War II, and other things like throughout history. And so then it ends with one of the girls is showing her how to kind of hybrid the magic. So she kind of puts like a technology marking on her arm, and it kind of hybrids like science versus magic together. And this is apparently a very volatile combination. And so this is what happens to her, to where she becomes powerful enough to where she actually makes herself go blind. Her own eyes bleed out. And then so they take the girl that gave her kind of the hybrid, and they basically wipe her, tell her that she's no longer allowed in the group, and that she harmed her, so she can't have her power. So they take away all her ink, and then there is a kind of a government agency that finds out that she is released and that she has magic, and so they are going to find her, and then she's like, I don't have magic anymore, they got taken away. And they're like, well, I guess you're not going to be any use to us. And she's like, wait, I'm just kidding, I lie, they just gave me a cloaking spell to cloak my tattoos, I really still do have the magic. And that's kind of where it ends, is where she's kind of helping these guys, but you're not for sure what nefarious means they are going to do. So I thought it was okay. I'm not quite sure if it like introduced well. Like it just kind of was.
The review was confusing.
The book was just as confusing.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like there's moments like when they first meet all the people where they're gonna go to this party. So then they one uses to change her hairstyle, one uses a tattoo to change her clothes, and one uses a tattoo to do her makeup, and then they kind of go out, and then it's just
as magic should be used to make yourself look spooky.
I don't disagree, but it's just the story just seems weird, like the way that they paced it, and then they don't really introduce the characters hardly at all. It's just kind of like this person's so now she's going to betray everybody, and you're like, I don't really care because I don't even know who she is. So I don't know if they did a good enough job to where it's almost like they tried to hit the ground running, but they didn't quite get there. And like, I'm not quite sure what the flashback, and then there's a lot of history involved. They kind of threw a lot of things to go into this like first issue, but they had a longer issue too. I think it was like 47 pages. So it was longer issue than the normal, but I'm just not quite sure. And I don't even know if I want to read the second one, because honestly, it really wasn't that interesting. Like the premise was interesting, but the way they set it up, I just really don't know if it's something that I'm going to enjoy. So I probably
maybe by a second issue, it may flesh it out more.
Yeah, I'm hoping, but I don't know.
I do know it's already been optioned
as a
whatever TV or
we know that doesn't
Yeah.
mean much.
No, I know it doesn't
Everything
mean
gets
anything.
optioned for
Doesn't
yeah.
increase- I mean, I'm just saying Haberlin's already announced that.
I can see where it's like, I could see where it could be really good, but I just don't feel like this first issue was set up very well. Like I said, like they introduce these two characters, then they flash back from those two characters, and then in between like this new character or this character that is going to be blinded, in between her getting her powers, they go through this history lesson about why they got powers, and then they turn into this party scene, and then this girl she gets uses her magic to betray everybody, and then she gets kicked out, and so it just got kind of a little bit too much, I think. So it was okay. It wasn't as well as what I wanted. So I don't know. I'll probably pick up issue 2 just because I want to try it out anyways and see if it gets any better. But so I'd say probably 2.5.
I'll just burn my copy then.
2.5 out of 5 unicorn horns. Other than that, yeah. All right, your go, Terry. Before James falls asleep.
All right, I read.
I'm gonna get you guys some naps.
Tales from the Dark Multiverse,
Right.
Batman Nightfall. This is by Scott Snyder, Javi Fernandez, Lee Weeks, and Kyle Higgins. And as the title entails, it's based off of a series that came out in the early 90s, late 90s, called Nightfall. And it's where Batman's back is broken by this character Bane, and he has this character Azrael come in and take his place while he's healing. In the original series, Batman regains and takes back his role as Batman, but in this multiverse, which is basically in Elseworlds, he doesn't. And Azrael actually takes him as a hostage, holds him up in a tower, and supposedly the rumor is that for every year Batman doesn't say that he's doing the right thing or he's what Gotham needs, he cuts off a limb of his. So the first thing you see is, not the first thing, but time you see Batman, he's up in this tower. The only thing that's left of him is his torso.
No, not even that. Just the head.
No, the torso's there.
Okay.
Yeah, the torso and the head. And the head's even, the brain's kind of sticking out of it. It's really weird looking.
Mm-hmm.
And so Azrael is taking over Gotham, and it's been many years.
Crazy.
Yeah, I read this and I liked it, but there's certain things I didn't like about it, and that was one of the things I like. Man, I can't believe that really ticked me off. They did that to Batman to Bruce, and so he's cordoned off Gotham, and he's ruling Gotham pretty much with the iron hand. He's got his little band, and nobody's supposed to come in or out without his say so. But there's some things going on. There's some leaks and people coming in. They catch the Penguin, possibly helping get some weapons in, and they kill him. They just cut his head off and kill him, and all of a sudden there is something going on, and there's this big force coming through the wall, and you don't know what it is yet. They're setting off to go fight it and everything, and the next thing you see this guy in the tower with Bruce come to supposedly save him, and you learn that it's Bane's son and Talia coming to save him to some degree.
Oh.
They have some sort of technology, I guess, that are able
Talia's
to.
daughter, wasn't it?
Was it Talia's daughter?
I thought it was.
It may have been. I don't remember.
Anyway.
But they've got some sort of technology that I guess can sustain him, so they haul him out of the tower, and then at some point they have some other technology that he can actually take over, sort of like nanobots or something. But it forms sort of this Batman that's got these nano things floating around it that look like sort of small bats that formulate this bat body.
It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Some interesting things to it. And so then basically it's just a battle between Batman, Bane's son, Talia's daughter, whichever it is, and Azrael. And it winds up with Azrael being pretty much hurt really bad, maybe on the near death. And Batman at this point, because he's been in there for years, he's had all these limbs cut off to him, he's kind of lost it at this point.
As one would, but like I'm not surprised.
Right. And this is one thing I didn't like, that he kind of loses it because it's Batman. He's got the iron will, he never gives up. But he basically kills Bane's son and Talia and says this is it, and just basically he's going to let Gotham burn and just restart over pretty much. And that's kind of how it ends.
I feel like that's
I did like
a valid solution.
I don't know if it was a comment or not, but talking about Bane, because what made John Paul go crazy was he had the venom.
That's right. He was starting to use Bane's venom,
Oh.
but he was already a bit crazy before that, because
but
even in Nightfall he was seeing the night or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this one though, he was using the venom and everything.
He was using the venom, which was pushing him even further over the edge.
But Bane's son made the comment that he's like, well, we could really use some of your dad's strength. That Bruce said to him, he's like, well, that's okay, because I think the venom, kind of leached into the cells and everything, so he could actually control how big he got, which I thought was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. And then Bane's son was using the venom as well. I don't know.
No.
Yes, because remember
he didn't.
Well, he used it at some point.
No,
who was using it? Because he ripped off his arm and drank the venom. Remember?
Let me
Out of that arm?
finish if you'd let
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, well, I know. I was trying to explain.
I'm trying to remember that.
Questions. It's like bullets. No, because Bane has used it so much,
right?
It passed on to him. So instead of him having blood, he had the venom in him.
The
so
son,
he didn't,
right,
he didn't
right. So,
have it.
okay, so he hadn't been using it, but he
No.
had it in his body,
Right. And so that's how he was able
it still was weird though, because he ripped it off and there was like green substance coming out of his arm.
Yeah.
So.
And then Azrael ends up dying. I love the way Azrael died, though.
Well, I don't know if he died or not. He was definitely on the verge of dying because he was stabbed through the back with his own weapon.
Right, by Bane's son. Yeah. I thought that was kind of cool. But.
You said you didn't like it, and now you sound like you kind of like it.
No, I thought it had some cool scenes in it, but...
Yesterday he was like, I was telling him I kind of enjoyed it, even though I hated certain things about it. And then, of course, it's Bedow being Dow. It sucked. And now he's like, changed his mind, it sounds like.
No, I like that scene, the
certain
couple
elements.
I liked about it.
It's hard to tell with you.
What's your rating?
Oh, man. I did like the read of it. Like I said, I didn't like... 3.5, maybe almost 4 stars.
Yeah. Wow. That's actually not bad. All right, James.
Okay, my next one is Steeple #2 by Dark Horse. It's John Allison, Sarah Stern, and Jim Campbell. It's about a young Anglican priest in training gets sent to this town out in nowhere, England, where the main priest is fighting off sea monsters and stuff like that every night. The priest in training decides that she's going to help the main priest, but by being a priest, not by being a fighter.
Right.
So she goes out and meets some of the local kids, and they kind of give her the brush off. And so she goes and meets the other gal that she met in town, who's a Satanist,
Right.
and is asking her, how do I get through to these kids? And they said, you need to learn everything about this rap star that's local that the kids all adore. So she decides to.
It's a way that the kids hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so go
Through
ahead.
music.
So anyway, she goes and uses her newfound knowledge on the kids, and that they're going to there's another rap star from another village who's been dissing their village, and she's like, well, we can't let them beat us, so we have to make our village as nice as possible, or they're gonna own us. So she tricks them into helping her out and cleaning up the town, and so it starts to rain, and one of these sea monsters comes up with the kids. So then it flips back to the priest, and he's getting ready to go out and fight the monsters for the night, and it flips back to the priest in training, and they're the kids have taken refuge from the rain inside of the church, and like a junior monster comes in, and it flips back to the priest. He's fighting an elder monster, and he's just about ready to beat his head in with a rock, and the junior priest comes out with these kids and with the young monster in tow. They're just people just like us, and we need to preach to them, and that so the priest and the monster make nice, and the priest is trying to deal with this, and the housekeeper she's not having it. So the girl goes to ask her Satanist friend for help, but she's like, "Oh, you really should have called first. We're just about ready to start our orgy."
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, your orgy, whatever. Quit trying to. I'm not that naive. And she goes in, they really are.
You're ready to start, yeah.
And they're like,
They're
we're
black
just about
masks.
to get naked.
All right, I won't stay. I'll call next time.
So, her and the priest have a little. They're kind of trying to find their middle ground, and that's it for the issue. So.
When you started this review, I just kept thinking of the South Park episode, "You got served."
Yeah, yeah. You
Well-
just got served.
I'll let you give your opinion, then I'll go.
I could see where it's going. It was a fun issue. It's not a lot happened in this one, so we'll see where it goes from here.
I was disappointed because I really thought it was going to go more of the she's going to take over to help fight monsters, and now it's turning into this cutesy kind of
CW show.
like this like charming
Monsters
little
are
like.
people too.
Oh, if I can find a way to get through to them, and now that I have, I'm gonna save the world by one person at a time. And it's just like this tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. And it's just like this, like, it's almost like. But then you have like this Satanistic side where they're like, "Oh, we're doing an orgy," and it's like, it just. I thought it was. I was hoping it was gonna go the other way, and it's going this way, and I'm like, I was slightly.
But I'm wondering if it's gonna go. If they're going to keep veering and then come back over, or where the I don't know, but it's interesting enough.
It's fun. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just
And
not what I
thing,
was
that's
wanting
the guy's
for it.
style.
Yeah,
is
I
fun,
I was just wanting something. I thought it would be something a little bit more like the Satanist would try to turn her, and like she would help fight these bad guys, and then But now it's going to turn into like she's going to charm the lady, and the lady's going to turn it. She's going to become a good guy, and just I
don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they'll have their differences.
I'm just
but,
saying that's the way that this
Right,
is starting.
right.
So I don't know. He may, but I honestly it was. I mean, it was cute. It was fun. It was what it was. But I was hoping it would go a different way.
Yeah.
I was hoping for something else.
From the first issue, I haven't got to any of the other issues. I didn't really like how she was just kind of jumped into it, just right off the bat in that first issue. She didn't really know it. She thought she was just going to a normal job, and she was just jumped right into this. And so I just don't know.
She knew she was.
But she's got
She
that.
didn't know she was going into.
But she's got that youthful.
Plucky,
I can
yeah.
deal.
From
The
church.
plucky
It wasn't like she just went to a
attitude
job
and
thing. Yeah, she was sent by the church to help them.
Right, but I didn't think she knew what she was really getting into.
no.
Well, no, she didn't know there was going to be monsters.
Yeah,
Right,
see,
yeah,
that's what I'm
she
saying.
knew- right,
She didn't know
but
she
But she knew it was going to be a
monsters.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
But I mean,
So,
I just was hoping for something different. But
I've enjoyed the Rider. I've enjoyed Giant Days with him, and I enjoyed By Night. So I mean, those are two.
And that's
check
another
out,
thing.
too.
She seemed to take to it too fast as well.
I mean, I can see that, but I think just time wise, I mean, I think that's more of a
Yeah, with the comic.
yeah, with the
time,
comic
but-
pacing more than anything. But especially with like the second issue, like they kind of get back into it, so it's kind of like she's gonna find her way to make a difference and through the kids' hearts.
I give it like 2.5 horns.
I could get on board with that.
So,
All right, last one.
Last one. I'm gonna do one that I guess we talked about before we started, but I'm not gonna. It's called Folklords.
It hadn't been out yet.
It's
Hasn't-
by
it's
Boom
not been
Studios.
released yet.
It's by Boom Studios. It's coming out.
There's a PDF sent to the retailers.
Yeah.
Right. There was a preview PDF sent. The first issue sent to the retailers, and it's.
He's going to spoil it for you. So
Yeah, go ahead and spoil
Well, I
it.
mean, I'm not going to spoil it or anything. I mean, we all know that the
that's
story.
what we do. We
Yes,
spoil
we
it.
spoil
Would you
the crap
shut
out of
your,
it.
Spoil it.
your pie
Just go.
hole so I can talk? About the hero that's stuck in our real world, looking for the fantasy world. Well, this is in folklore. It's kind of
Just go,
reversed.
just go over it. It's fine.
I am. I'm
Fine.
talking about it. Shut your pie hole too. It's the concept is reversed. The character name's Ansel. He lives in a world of monsters and magic, and finds himself haunted by visions of tailored suits and modern technology. And he has to know why. So, when his dreams, he dreams of New York and skyscrapers and modern technology. Teenagers embark on a quest before setting into their lives within their village.
Did you read the book?
Yeah, I did read the book.
What are you reading?
I'm reading the little synopsis so I
Oh.
don't spoil anything. Shit.
That's what we do.
I know. Just go ahead and spoil it.
Its quest can be
'Cause now we
knowledge,
wanna
quest
know.
for glory, or even quest to defeat mythological beast. Ansel's, like I said, haunted by these visions. He's haunted of cell phones, radios, tailored suits, everything. So he wants to go find what they call the folklores.
For
And
the
that's
lords.
Lords.
Okay.
Hoping they explain what his visions mean. Slight problem. Looking for the folklords is punishable by death. So, it's written by Matt Kind, Kind. He did Kent. He did Black Badge, and Grass Kings. It's got Matt Smith on art, not the Doctor Who Matt Smith, the Hellboy and BPDRE artist. I enjoy it. It's targeted for fans of people who like Fables, Middle West, and Die. So I know we've had our differences on Die, but you know. I really enjoyed it. I signed up for the issue when it's coming out, and I know you did too, I think. Signed up for the issue.
So he's searching out these folk lords for what again?
To explain why he's dreaming of...
Explain his dreams?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's dreaming
So
about
instead of Tolkien dreaming
so it's basically
of elves and dwarves and stuff, it's
an elf and
an
dwarf
elf
dreaming
of
Right.
corporate mergers
Okay. Yeah.
and
Cell
three-piece
phones
suits
and
and cell
Right.
phones.
automobiles.
If you'd listen instead of trying to
So
interrupt
it'd be like-
me.
I was
Like
listening. You didn't
Aragorn.
explain it.
Aragorn or
It's a human
what's-
kid
yeah,
in a
Aragorn
fantasy
dreaming
setting.
of skyscrapers.
Prince Charles.
Yeah,
Instead of Prince Charles dreaming of Aragorn.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And you gave it how many?
I actually gave it, but I just give it 3 stars.
3 stars.
3.5. So,
All right.
I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to picking up the issue.
So I'm gonna do Midnight Massacre. It's by Action Lab, Danger Zone Comics.
Is this issue 2?
This is issue 1.
Sounds like a Crocus song.
Written by Ben Matsuya and John Matsuya, and the art is by Ben. So they kind of all do all the things, create, write, and do all of this stuff. So this is about. It starts off with a couple. They're going through like a haunted house, and they get scared. This monster jumps out of them, so they beat this monster up because it like scares them. So they're trying to defend themselves. Turns out it's just some guy in a suit, and the corporate world is trying to like. You know, what are we going to do? We're going to get sued. You know, this guy, here's another guy with bruises. And like, well, how do you know these bruises weren't there before us? You know, like, he already signed a waiver. So these corporate people are basically saying that these workers, these monsters, these people that dress up as monsters are expendable. Like, they don't care. They just want their park to go off without a hitch, and they don't care what happens to their employees. So the employees kind of strike, and they're like, well, if you don't have monsters, your Monster Massacre, place is not going to take off. So then it cuts to one of the workers that works at this amusement park, and she does one of the games where they like try to knock over the bottles with the baseball, and everybody comes up and it's like, yo, this thing's rigged, and she's like, it's not rigged, sir, it's just hard, and he's like, oh, try it, and then they try, and he's like, this thing is rigged, and she's like, it's not rigged, sir, it's just hard. Then it just kind of gets in this monotony of like her how she doesn't like her job, but she's been there for a couple of years, and then it goes to one of the guys comes up and says, well, I got fired, and he's one of the monster workers, so they fired all the monster workers. And then it cuts back to the corporate people where they're sitting there trying to figure out what they're going to do now that they fired all their monster workers. Well, one guy's like, we could hire all these people back, we can get some insurance. If we got this insurance, we'd have 3% profits and we'd still be good. And they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. This other lady stands up and she gives all these like buzzwords about like synergy and synergistics, and everybody's like, oh yeah, we want to do that. But there's not really a plan. It's just a bunch of buzzwords that she says. And then it turns into this. This guy comes in and he jumps in, and he's like this hippie shaman guy, and he basically opens a hell mouth to hell for all these demons to come out, and he's trapping them. So what they're going to do is use all these monsters, real life monsters, in their park. But it ends up with him like showing them like this cat demon comes out, and he like traps the cat demon, and the cat demon like becomes really docile. And so probably the next issue they'll probably start populating this, and then hilarity will ensue. So all in all, like a first issue, just set up. They just talked about the premise. Very cartoony. The art was very like cartoony. It wasn't quite as like realistic as I thought it would have been fun to do. It's definitely like a fun book. It's not something that's super serious. It's like they keep, when they do the CEOs, they keep doing all these like crazy dialogue where it's just it's outrageous to the point where it's comedic. The female like with all her synergy words, and she's always like, they're like, oh, he's gonna sue, and she's like, no, he's not. He's already signed a waiver. Well, how do we know those bruises weren't there before the bruises? And it's just this weird kind of funny comedy talk. So it wasn't quite what I was hoping it was going to be or what it was going to be. I was hoping for a more serious comic book, but it wasn't. It's definitely cutesy. I don't think I'll pick up issue 2. really didn't capture me, or like I'm not for sure where it's gonna go, so I just don't. And even the spot that I see where it's gonna go, where they're gonna populate this world with monsters, it's just not. It doesn't seem interesting enough to stay with it. So
So how many
sadly,
unicorns?
I'd probably say 2 out of 5 unicorn horns. Because I mean, like it did. The dialogue was pretty easy to read. The art was okay. It was just the premise wasn't that interesting for me. So
All right.
Okay.
all right, closes out, Terry.
All right, I read Metal Men #1, Dan Diodato, Shane Davis, Philip Tan, Dalecki, and then Mark Deering. This basically starts off with Doc Magnus. He's raging about how he's a failure, and he's looking at all his awards, throwing them about and stuff. And meanwhile, at Challenger Mountain, they're looking into something that has come through the dark multiverse, some sort of sentient metal. They're trying to figure it out, and it keeps going back and forth to the doctor, and then to the mountain. And then Gold comes up to the doc and says he's all mad, and he says, "Look, I found this in the lab or something. You need to come explain this. What the hell's going on?" And so Magnus goes down there, and they see it, and
He's kind of like, oh, not again. Like
right,
yeah.
it's not again. And it's all these other formations of the Metal Men there that just seem to be discarded, and it comes to being that he was saying he's a sham because he's saying that the Metal Men really aren't sentient, that they're just basically pieces of him.
Yeah.
So, and
He's programmed them so well that they're
Right.
just programming.
they're
them.
just programming, possibly with some of his own
Yeah.
soul to them or something, but they're not sentient. And about that time, it skips back to the mountain. They're saying there's this sentient metal here, and it's asking for you specifically by name. And all of a sudden, he gets all cheerful and everything. Really? There's really sentient metal, you know? And that's kind of where it leaves off. That doesn't sound very exciting. The issue wasn't terribly exciting, but it was a decent read. It was okay. I would give it a 3, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I saw was
It was
that,
definitely a setup issue.
Yeah.
that Dan changes everything you know about the Metal Men and stuff.
Yeah.
But they do that every time. Everyone who writes Metal Men.
Tries to do something a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the best
There
Metal
was
Men
one
story,
where they found the people that were, hidden deep, that were linked to these metal things, and they had forgotten they were people, and then no, they're actually robots, and so everybody restarts Metal Men every time.
Well,
Right.
the thing about like the one about this is that everybody thinks that the Menomen are sentient, but he's saying in this book that they're really not. Like even the responsive meters is just it's kind of a programming thing more than it is anything that like they don't think for themselves. It's just another.
They're just
He's programmed
running
after stuff that
programs.
he goes through. Yeah,
Mhm.
which I think was kind of sad.
And program Platinum to have
feelings
unhealthy
feelings
attractions for him.
right.
Well,
So,
that would be
yeah,
his
like
love.
maybe
Like,
maybe
yeah,
the
she would be his.
gold-
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a setup issue. It wasn't terrible. It was a decent setup issue, but it wasn't action packed or anything. It was just,
Did Mercury
Yeah.
have 7 pages about how he's the only metal that's liquid at room temperature?
No.
he did not.
He didn't
no.
have. Yeah, like they really didn't show a lot of the
'Cause-
Metal Men at all.
No,
like
the
it was
Metal Men
mostly
was-
Mag.
Yeah, most of them, they have pages and pages of Mercury going on about.
No.
But the other thing about this that I was kind of a little disappointed is like they don't actually have Copper in it. Like I liked Copper. I thought that she was kind of an interesting addition.
yeah,
But they don't have Copper in
didn't
there
see her
except
in
for
there.
when they look at the
And
other
the
robot.
discarded,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's in there.
Maybe they'll.
And also, there was another one that they did for 10.
we gotta.
Gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, we gotta
Yep.
wrap it up.
We're gonna run out of juice here, so we better wrap it up. I guess
It's okay. You were the last one. Anyways.
that was the last one. That was
Yeah.
the last review. I gave Metal Men 3 stars.
Yeah.
That's the end.
I'd probably say two. I
Yeah.
really didn't enjoy it as much, but it is what
So-
it is.
All right.
All right.
That's it. So
Well, thanks for joining us
Yep.
for another episode of Angel and Unicorn Comic Book Reviews. If you can, like, share, and subscribe. We'd love to have more people.
ring the bell.
Ring the bell, yes. And but until then, we hope your
And
pull
then
list is...
tonight, there'll be a new episode.
Oh, that's
of
right.
Comic Book
So
Straight Talk.
it's
Yeah,
Comic Straight Talk
with
with Terry and Dal. They'll do their own...
Kenny. Yep.
Kenny.
And Kenny.
We'll be discussing our Halloween issues.
Ooh, fun.
Yep.
Awesome.
And that'll be up tomorrow.
Nice. There you go.
Yep.
If you can, go over there and like, share, and subscribe to them because they would love to have more people. But until then, we hope your pull list is full.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.